Oh, hello fellow obsessionists. If you're new to my channel, my name is Austin and I'm a designer with a passion for fashion and wearable arts. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how I made this stunning Greek key diamond crown, which is a close replica of this stunning Cartier tiara. This magnificent masterpiece actually holds a tragic history of the ship it was traveling on, and that ship was the Lusitania. I'll get to that story later on, but before that, I'm gonna kick off the project by walking you through the materials that I used for the crown. The list is long, so grab a pen and a notebook. I will also put the links to everything in the description box. You will need straight nose pliers, needle nose pliers, and flush cutters, a skewer or fine brush for applying superglue, and to contain the glue, I used an old contact lens container. Super handy. For the wire work, grab some flat aluminium wire in silver tone. I picked aluminium because it's soft and easy to bend. Perfect for this project. You also need copper wire in 28 gauge. And next, my holy grail of jewelry making, a whole roll of rhinestone chain in prong setting. E6000 glue is your go-to, along with some small syringes for precise application. Also grab some cyano acrylic superglue. And now my absolute favorite purchase, these stunning yellow gemstone earrings with fine diamond bezels. I'll use the largest stone as the centerpiece for the crown, and I saved the rest for my matching gemstone choker. Stay tuned for that in the next video. I simply cut off the jump ring connecting the gems together and filed off the burr so that it's smooth. You can see how superior these stones are compared to the regular glass rhinestones I often use. The original Cartier tiara, designed in 1909 for Lady Allan, features a Greek meander pattern. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are familiar with the image of a Greek meander. A meander, or meandros, is a continuous line forming a series of right angles, a popular design motif seen in Greek and Roman art. It's one of my absolute favorite motifs, which is why I had to replicate this tiara. Before making the crown, I had to create the blueprint in AutoCAD. It took a few design iterations to figure out the best approach, especially for a wire wrap crown. This is a long, boring, and arduous process, well, at least to watch, so I'm not gonna dive too deep into it. But I'm glad to say that if you would like to make this crown for yourself, you wouldn't have to go through all this headache, because this blueprint is available on my Patreon shop, ready to print, so we can get straight to the fun part. I first created two oval bands out of the flat aluminium wire, one slightly larger than the other, to form the flared shape. I used flat nose pliers to grip the edge of the flat wire and gently curved it, pressing the flat side to flatten it out. I followed my blueprint to guide how far to bend the wire so I could achieve the right oval shape in the end. To close the band, you can use any wire wrap technique you prefer. The method I use is more of a personal choice, honestly. It's probably not the best method out there, but it works for me. And this is how the two bands should look like. The Greek key design will be created piece by piece separately. It's time to cut out all of the puzzle pieces from the flat aluminium wire, and yes, all 36 of them. To keep things organized, I named each piece with A, B, C, D, and E. If you're following along, the blueprint includes detailed instruction on how many of each piece you need. And trust me, staying organized here will save you so much time later. The D and E pieces will be the structural support of the crown. Think of them like columns. At the same time, they are also part of the Greek key pattern. Now, as I have said earlier, the original Cartier tiara was made for Lady Allan. She was the wife of Sir Hugh Montagu Allan of the Canadian Allan Line Shipping Company. In 1915, Lady Allan was traveling from New York to Liverpool with two of her young daughters and two maids. The ship she was traveling on was the Lusitania, and that is the tragic part of the story. The Lusitania was, at the time, the largest ship in the world, measuring over 240 meters in length and weighing over 31,000 tons. Although it's a luxury ship, the Lusitania was noted more for its speed. In May 1915, the Lusitania, carrying nearly 2,000 passengers and crew, including Lady Allan, was en route to Liverpool. Now, this is during the time of World War I. It was very dangerous to sail between Britain and America. The British Admiralty even warned the ship to avoid the area altogether, and to recommend adopting the evasive tactic of zigzagging, changing course every few minutes at irregular intervals to confuse any attempt of attack by torpedoes. The ship's captain, however, ignored these recommendations, and tragically, on the afternoon of May 7, 1915, the ship was attacked by German torpedoes. Within 20 minutes, the ship had sunk, and 1,198 people were drowned. Lady Allan's daughters were sadly among the people who died. Now, Lady Allan herself was injured, but she escaped with her maids and with the luggage that contained this very Cartier tiara. Lady Allan would go on to outlive the last remaining children by 15 years. She later died in 1957. In 2015, the tiara was auctioned off for £500,000. Together with artifacts from the Titanic and other luxury ships, it was on display as part of Ocean Liner's Speed and Style at the Victoria and Albert Museum. We'll begin the frame construction with the D pieces. It's crucial to position them precisely, so make sure to follow the blueprint closely. If it feels tricky to get the pieces into place, and it's completely fine because I struggled at first too, you can dab a little bit of E6000 glue to temporarily hold them in place. Each piece needs to flare out instead of standing upright at a perfect 90-degree angle. To achieve this, clamp the foot of the piece firmly with your flat nose pliers. Then, with the other hand, gently bend the piece forward at a 30-degree angle. And there you go. I used a template to make sure that the angle is consistent across every piece. And once they are positioned, use 28 gauge wire to wrap tightly around the foot for added stability. Then clamp the wrapping tight and flat with your pliers to secure it. Finally, a dab of superglue on the wrap will lock the drawing in place permanently. And that's 2 pieces down, 34 to go. Simply repeat the same process. And don't forget, before attaching each piece, be sure to bend the foot to the correct angle. This ensures that every piece will flare out beautifully when seated on the bottom bend. Aluminium wire might seem too soft, and that's actually a good thing. It's super easy to work with, and once all the pieces are joined together, they create a surprisingly strong framework, like really strong. How strong, you ask? Let me tell you this. This crown has been through 6 flights, just tossed in the back of my suitcase without any box of fancy protection. And guess what? It's still standing, with only a few minor dings that were super easy to fix. This bad boy is a survivor. Oh, and a quick pro tip. If you're right-handed, hold the piece with your left hand and wrap from left to right with your dominant hand. Lefties, just flip it. Gosh, I always get so excited when things are coming together. The foundation is set, the columns are in place, now we just need to top it out with a roof. So grab that top end and a sewing needle? Well, trust me, you're going to need it for this part. There will be a lot of threading through some tight spaces. So take your 28 gauge wire and thread it through the needle. I know it's a bit unexpected, but it's the perfect tool for the job. Now just make tight wire wrapped around the joint the same way as you did before when you fixed the pieces onto the bottom band. Keep it snug and keep it tight. And you know the drill, wire wrap, superglue, rinse and repeat. Now is a complicated part, fixing this centerpiece gemstone onto the frame. And here I had 2 flat wires. They are used at crossbars, which I pushed into the gap of this gorgeous stone setting. I marked where to bend the crossbars, then I bent it at a 100-degree angle. The final piece should look like this, and it kinda reminds me of that spider from Bejeweled 3. Now kids, what do we do next? That's right, more wire wrapping, this time in a crisscross pattern. After that, I filed off the burrs. And now it's finally the drill time. To stay organized, I cut the rhinestone chain into segments of 3 stones, 4 stones, and up to 7 stones. And yes, I even counted how many I would need for each length. I'm a bit of a control freak like that. The rest of the process is pretty straightforward, so now it's time to relax and I'll shut up. And I present to you my replica of the Cartier Greek Key Crown. This is, without a doubt, my absolute favorite crown creation on my channel so far. I'm so proud of this piece because, along with the Princess Diana Lover's Knot tiara I made 3 years ago, is one of the most complex projects I've tackled in terms of construction. And that wraps up this project. Stay tuned for the next video. I will show you how to make this Riviere gemstone necklace that I'm wearing to complete the look. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to ring that bell so you won't miss any future videos, especially since I don't upload very often. Your support means the world to me, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!